Hello and welcome to another episode of Frightfully Forgotten Horror Movies. What are we drinking today, Adam?
Today we are drinking Deep Red, which is a Cascade Red X Smash. If you want the recipe, get the link up there.
Today we're going to bring to you 1979's Zombi. And this movie was directed by the Italian director Lucio Fulci, who has done a lot of Italian horror.
Yep.
The movie stars Tissa Farrow, who's Mia Farrow's sister. And if nobody knows who Mia Farrow is, she was in Rosemary's Baby, the 1968 classic. Ian McCullough, he was in The Ghoul and Zombie Holocaust. It also stars Richard Johnson. He's been doing, TV
since the 50s.
yeah, so, he's got a huge filmography.
Zombie starts off very well, grips you in right away. This great opening shot of this corpse. It's wrapped in this kind of white tarp. It's slowly rising.
Yeah, it's eerie in itself.
Yeah, and there's a close-up of this revolver. And then you see the barrel kind of slowly turn and boom! All the brains and shit sticking out, and then this shadowy figure just goes,
"The boat can leave now."
Then it takes us to the New York harbor, where this abandoned boat is just kind of made its way in, is kind of wandered in. Coast Guards go check it out, and it appears to be abandoned. Then a zombie comes out of the door, right? And I'm a sucker for fat zombies.
That's kind of reminiscent of the remake of Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Uncle Reg.
Yeah. Anne is trying to get onto the scene because it's her father's boat, they find out. Reporter Peter is on the case. He sneaks on at night. He sneaks onto the ship. And she's there.
Yeah.
And she's investigating too. And the Coast Guard guy kind of comes on. He's looking through the ship. And of course...
it's his idea.
Yeah, his idea. I have an idea. And they're all making out and everything. Like,
how convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. They find out that Anne's dad was on this remote island in the Caribbean, from which he never returned. I love the scene in the airport, just the airport alone, how 70s it looks, all the red leather. So they make it to the Caribbean, and the music is playing.
It's all cheap.
As soon as they landed the Caribbean there, it's all this like super elevator Caribbean music. Anne and Pete stumble upon another couple.
Brian and Susan, right?
They're too nice.
Yeah, they're too nice, and they're vacationing, right? But they're like, okay, well, we'll be going sort of out there. We'll be going some sort of direction, right? Because they don't know where this island is. The island of Matau, I think it is. Susan, the woman on the boat there, she's, "Oh, can you stop? It looks like a great spot to go scuba diving." So she's got to take her top off, and this is where we get, a bit of the gratuitous shot. Right away, there's a really cool shot of this hand that kind of comes around and reaches onto her shoulder. It's a zombie.
That's creepy, eh? Like, you're scuba diving, you're not expecting anyone to be down there, and someone puts their hand on your shoulder?
Yeah, that'd be... And then, like, looking how he does, too, right? I mean, he's all, like, kind of melted up a little bit from being underwater and stuff. He looks really cool. She kind of gets into a bit of a fight with him, and there's this shark that's kind of swimming around.
Tiger shark, I believe it is.
Is it? Yeah.
A real tiger shark.
The real guy who was the zombie, he was a trainer. He was a shark trainer. Susan's pretty lucky, so she makes her way to the boat. The zombie takes on this shark and kind of takes a chunk out of the shark. And
it's a really cool scene. Like, how often do you see a zombie fight a shark underwater in a movie?
it's kind of like a James Bond thing.
Yeah.
Like,
how often do you see a shark save a human in a movie?
Yeah, they usually eat the human. On the island, they run into this Dr. Menard. He's doing a lot of research, and he's looking into these bodies, and they keep coming back to life.
He's trying to scientifically find out why these zombies are coming back to life, and they show his laboratory, and it's the most primitive. All he has is a microscope.
Yes.
That's his only instrument.
It's like, what are you going to do with that? Just take some blood and put it on the thing and...
look at it.
Solved.
Yeah.
Now, the doctor wants them to go check on his wife. The wife has run into...
a perv peeping Tom zombie.
Yeah, while she's in the shower. The zombie breaks through the door, and there's all these shards. There's one that's pointing out, and you get the sense that something's going to happen. Right? And the zombie grabs her head and slowly brings it closer to this big wooden shard. And it slowly gets closer to her eye, and Oh, right.
Goes right through her eyeball.
Oh.
And that's one of this movie is famous for that scene.
Yeah.
It's famous for two scenes. Well, the shark scene and the eye scene.
Their Jeep kind of runs off of the road. They sort of stumble upon this old Spanish conquistador graveyard. Slowly, these conquistadors start coming out of the ground. And it's really cool.
Yeah,
like,
there's great shots there.
by this point, this is like 400 years later.
Yeah,
I don't think it'd be all just bones.
Yeah.
But anyways, you have to forgive them. They make their way back to the hospital where Dr. Bernard is, and they bar the doors.
They have to fend off a big horde of zombies. They choose to use a bunch of Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
Which in a wooden structure doesn't make that much sense. So Zombie has actually several different names. It's Zombie in North America. It is known as Zombie 2 in Italy because Dawn of the Dead was called Zombie in Italy.
In Italy, yeah.
So in Italy, this is a sequel to Dawn of the Dead. But everywhere else in the world, it's standalone.
Right.
And in UK, it's called Zombie Flesh Eaters. Even though it's in Italy, it's a sequel to Dawn of the Dead. Fulci would always say, no, it's not. But they kind of, I think it was marketed that way because Dawn of the Dead is so successful.
Yeah, they tried to latch onto
Yeah,
that.
they latched onto it.
With this movie, though, it seems like it could almost be a prequel to Dawn of the Dead, though.
Yeah,
right?
I'd
the way
say-
it's done.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of a prequel to Dawn of the Dead than anything else.
Yeah, because it seems like with all this weird voodoo shit and stuff, it seems like an origin story.
The cinematography in this movie is super good, and I didn't realize how good it was till I watched it on Blu-ray, because we'd only ever seen it on the VHS.
Yeah, and I just found this out, like, this is the only version I've ever seen.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe how good it looked on Blu-ray, like how it's super panoramic, it's wide as hell. It just looks great, so many good shots, like even just the shots of New York Harbor look great, and all the shots on the island look really good, and even the underwater shots.
Yes, even in the VHS,
Yeah,
the
underwater shots look great. It looks like National Geographic documentary quality.
Right, yeah. Wicked opening scene, right?
Yeah.
It grips you into the movie. That wicked theme, too.
Yeah, great theme for this. It's one of the better horror movie themes.
Yeah, and it's one of the most notable, I would say, really. One of the most memorable. I always get this theme stuck in my head.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then there's the cheesy music when they're on the island.
It's all cheap.
Another thing I really like about this movie is the zombies. The design of the zombies is really good. They're not just blue. They do look really good.
It's a little more intimate with the zombies.
They look like they're full of dirt. They're decaying, like their eye socket, like there's nothing in the eyes. It's just an empty socket for a lot of them. And one thing I really like is that when they're rising from the grave, they all have like worms and maggots in like the eye sockets and the mouth and stuff like that. That's like, you don't really see that often in movies with the...
No, yeah, something to make you a little queasy on top of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Zombie POV thing, right?
Yeah, you don't often see that, a zombie POV.
No, you almost never do.
You see it in slasher flicks, so they kind of took a bit of a trick from the slasher flicks, the POV of the murder, but in this case, it's zombie POV, which I thought was neat.
The one sort of qualm that I have about this movie, for myself, I mean, it's the pacing is a little off on this. And I think, it's just chalked up to being an Italian horror movie, like a foreign film.
Yeah, in the 70s, right? The portrayal of women in it, like the women are very feeble.
Extremely.
They can't really defend themselves at all.
Yeah, like, zombies are coming at them and they just go up against the wall and just scream.
And just stand there, yeah.
You can fight, or you can run.
Yeah.
And
Dr. Menard cuffs his wife one there, just fucking cracks her, and she doesn't even it's like happens every day, The effects in this are very, very good. From the makeup to the gore effects.
For sure, yeah.
And same thing when the zombies eat people, the effect is very good. It looks like someone's biting into a chunk of meat.
Right, it doesn't look like styrofoam, right? Like from Dawn of the Dead,
Yeah. It's a modern zombie movie, but it still harks back to the old zombie movies dealing with the voodoo and stuff like that.
Right, it's kind of a meld of the two.
Yeah, it's kind of a bridge. It bridges the gap between the voodoo zombies and the Romero zombies. The ending of this movie is very cool. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but we'll let you know that It would be better if the budget would have let them do what they were supposed to do.
I still love the end anyways. I still love it for what it implies.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of like any zombie movie, the Romero zombie movies, sometimes this one gets kind of maybe overlooked because I think it's foreign, it's Italian.
Yep.
It's fun, it's good. The pacing's a little slow, but it's worth it for just the zombie design, the effects, the gore.
Yeah, just to see it all basically and to see it done very well.
Yeah.
So check it out. 1979 Zombie.
Or Zombie 2.
Or Zombie Flesh Eaters.